Well, thank you for joining us on this little photo tour of the Sunshine Coast. The first photo you're seeing is of a framed shot. I used the trees to frame the shot. This was out the back window of our little chalet, little cabin, as you might call it, up at Madeira Park. We stayed at the Painted Boat Spa and Resort. Very nice place. Certainly recommend it. The people there were fantastic. It was clean, spacious, and it was a very good place to stay for us. So moving on. So in this shot, I wanted to show that even during the dark, dreary trails where there's lots of canopy, not giving you much light, you can still get some vivid images with your trees and your green. Not the best shots, but it shows that it can be done as long as you need a little bit of patience and camera setup. So after we broke through the little forest bit and came out to this little lagoon, for want of a better term, I thought it was very interesting. Tree in the foreground, looking out into the mountains behind. This shot is virtually straight out the camera, no editing, and it's a lovely shot. You can make good use of that. So I walked down to the water's edge, same lagoon, just a different angle. This one is heavily edited, as you can see, in comparison with the last one. This is an editing I don't often do, but I felt that this shot needed to have some drama. So I've like high clarity, high contrast shot, bringing out the sky glowing in the background. And I just thought, well, let's give it a go, show the people what can be done. And that was just with a standard Sony A6100. It's not a high-end camera. It's like a $600 camera with a standard lens on it, kit lens. So don't give up, people. It shows it can be done. So heading back to Seychelles on the Sunshine Coast Highway, we passed this lake near Half Moon Bay called Trout Lake. And I took this little basic picture across the lake. I love the reflections on the water with the trees. Created a bit of symmetry there for you. And you can see, it's a shame about the little bush thicket in the bottom right hand corner, but I couldn't avoid it with that framing. But I managed to find another little space a little later on, which I'm taking you to next. Here we have a slightly different editing technique, very dramatic, high contrast, high clarity. For me, I prefer this shot. My symmetry is really good. I got that water line right through the middle, some dramatic sky, and that you can see the difference in the trees growing a bit of like green out at you, and I'm sure this would make a lovely black and white shot. Maybe I'll re-edit it and throw one in at the end of the this video and show what it looks like in black and white. After we left Trout Lake, we headed down to Gibson's along the waterfront. This is a little shot across Howe Sound. Nice dramatic sky. So I was using my Sony A6100 for this shot, nothing fantastic again, regular camera, and all I did was give a little crop for this screen. Now the next shot, also straight out the camera, slightly different angle across, looking at the mountains. It was a nice warm day, but as you can see there's still some snow on the mountains in the distance. Again, straight at the camera, slightly different image. This is the same shot that we were just looking at. I added a bit of drama to it, put some contrast and some clarity in it to make it look a little bit different. Afterwards we moved on to Smitty's Marina where the boats were. This is one of my shots showing reflections of the mast and the boats in the water with the mountains in the background. Pretty straightforward, not much editing in this one. Next shot is a more wider image of the same harbour. giving some clouds, mountains in the background, some foreground, nice balance to it, but pretty straightforward. Hazel took this shot. She did a bit of in-camera, I would say in-camera, in-phone editing. This was all done on her Samsung Galaxy S20. She really likes the camera and the settings in that, and enjoys doing some images of that. So heading home on the back of the ferry, I took this shot straight into the sun, and as you can see right in the middle we've got some flare. A primary, I wanted to add this one to show you a primary problem with what you have shooting directly into the sun. Now I've taken the sun off to the side, this was like moments later, and done some minor editing. Contrast and clarity again brings out that lovely sky, and a nice rule of thirds there with the water, mountains and the sky. So bear that in mind when you're taking your shot, and remember your rule of thirds. And as promised, I said I would re-edit the Trout Lake picture into black and white. I put a little white border around it to help it pop out of the screen. But as you can see, it's very dramatic in black and white. It really shows the contrast between the lights and darks. And to be honest, I think I really prefer this one in black and white. Hope you do too. Thank you for bearing with me and following along to Take Easy Images. Hope to see you soon. All the best. Take care of yourself and stay safe.